invite our first speaker, Linda Shoemaker, who some of you may have seen her picture on different ads and campaigns and things, because we know her as an incredible woman who is running for public office. She's running for the position of regent at the University of Colorado. But most people who may not know her personally, may not know some of the rest of her career, and I'm going to share a little bit. And then I'm going to ask her for about 5 to 7 minutes, and each of the speakers to follow, to give you a little bit of their career path, why she ended up now running for regent, what her path was along the way, the obstacles she encountered, and insights she gained, and what her vision is, why she now has decided to run for public office, and what it has taken. It's a marathon. But I wanted to say that she is a former journalist and a Denver University law graduate from law school at Denver University. And she's running actually for the region from District 2. She's a former board member of the I Have a Dream Foundation of Boulder County, the Foundation for Boulder Valley Schools, and a former court-appointed special advocate for abused and neglected children, for voices of children. She's also been a member of the Women's Foundation of the Colorado, at the Colorado Board of Trustees, Boulder Business and Professional Women, and the Colorado Women's Bar Association Board. So it's a very talented, multiple past woman, a mother, a wife, and now running for public office. Is this live? Yeah. Would you rather use this?
Because I'm a walker. I'm a pacer when I speak. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak and for that lovely introduction, which is the resume that I always want people to hear. But what I'm going to tell you today is about the resume that I don't want people to hear, and that's my resume of failure. I have failed many, many times in my life. And I think that by embracing failure, I've been able to move through it and find my passion throughout my life. And it's changed. Once you have gray hair, you've had a number of different paths to walk. So I remember when I was, 50 years ago, when I was in school, and I would come home with some tale of woe for my mother about a bad grade I got on a test, or a teacher that was mean to me, or a boyfriend that just broke up with me. And she said, well, that's a problem. You got to figure out how to solve that problem. You got to make lemonade out of lemons. And I think that I learned to do that pretty well, and I taught my children that as well. How to fail is one of the most important things that you can learn in life. And that's my message to you, to embrace failure and embrace change. I'm going to just have time to tell you about a couple failures, because you're not going to believe it from that resume, but I will tell you. The first one was when I was in Fairview High School. I ran for head girl, which I don't even know if they have such a thing anymore, but they had a head boy all the way through the 50s, but finally in the 60s they decided they needed to have a head girl and a head boy. So I ran for head girl and I lost. Well, how mortifying is that? That's a popularity contest when you're in high school. And you lost. So I could have told myself, well, you'll never be good at elections. Don't ever bother to run again. But 20 years later, I did run. I ran for the school board in Boulder Valley. Hey, thank you. Perfect. And I ran against the incumbent chair of the board, and I actually won. That was a pretty miraculous win. So, but I'm skipping ahead. I shouldn't have skipped ahead. Number 2 failure was when I was 28 years old, and I was pretty miserable. I really was miserable. I felt like a real failure. I wanted children, I hadn't been able to have them. I had no prospect of them because I had 2 failed marriages by the time I was 28 years old. I'd always wanted to go to law school. I couldn't figure out how to do it. It just really seemed impossible. I had no savings. I was running a little weekly newspaper up in Glenwood Springs. And I said to myself, okay, I'm finally going to do it. I'm going to go to law school. I have no idea how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it. And I made it happen because I went to the University of Denver instead of CU, because CU admitted me, but I couldn't figure out how to work in Glenwood Springs and go to CU because it was a very traditional kind of an academic day. But at DU, you could take night classes, and they really didn't have Friday classes. So I could drive, I had a big old white pickup truck, I drove it back and forth to Glenwood, and I didn't have an apartment in Glenwood. I rented out my apartment. I slept on the floor of the office in a sleeping bag. Now, my friends who know me today will find that hard to believe. But I did, because that was the way I got myself through law school. And the wonderful thing that happened when I was in law school is I met my darling current husband, who's outlasted by many times the first 2. I've changed careers almost as often as I've changed husbands. Because I was a journalist and then I was a lawyer for a while. But there are a lot more failures that I could go into, except that I don't have time. I failed to make partner at a big law firm. I failed at a social venture that I tried to start called Blue Giving. My most recent failure, though, is that I flunked retirement. And that's why I'm here today instead of in my house in Santa Barbara, where I would rather be. I was really very happy a year and a half ago. I was a retired attorney. I had a lot of charitable work that I did that was important to me. 3 children grown up, 5 grandchildren. They all live near us. We have a big house, plenty of money. I make jewelry in my spare time. So I thought I was happy, but I guess I was bored. Because when this opportunity came along, I grabbed it. Joe Neguse is currently the regent for Congressional District 2. He had decided to run for Secretary of State, and so it was an open seat. And being a regent for the University of Colorado is just like being in charge of a school board. It's a board that manages the budget and hires the leadership, sets the policies for the 4 campuses of the University of Colorado. Now, how cool is that for a part-time job? You know, that is the best in the world. I love CU. And I've always been interested in opportunity and trying to make sure that every child had a good education like my children were able to have because of the opportunities that I was able to provide for them. You know, you can't get into the middle class these days, as you all well know, without some form of higher education. But we in Colorado are not helping any students to go to college. The state of Colorado helped me go to college. When I went to college, 60% of the university budget was covered by the state of Colorado, by public funds. And today, what is it? It's 5%. That's right, 5% state monies goes to CU, and it's not much better at CSU or Mines. Those are fantastic schools as well, and our community colleges. We're failing to fund those as well. So I felt a calling. I came out, I said, okay, I'm willing to fail again if I have to, but I'm gonna be out there, I'm gonna run, and I'm asking you to vote. I'm not asking you to vote for me. But please vote, get your ballots in. If you didn't get a ballot or you can't find it, you think you recycled it by mistake, all you have to do is go to one of the voting centers, go to one of the voting centers on Monday or Tuesday, and you'll be able to vote. So please do that, and remember what Oprah Winfrey always said, think like a queen. A queen is not afraid to fail. Failure is just another stepping stone on the road to success. Thank you very much.
That was perfect. We're getting ready to launch our keynote lineup today. Linda, thank you so much. That's inspiration for every one of us. And especially when we think about perhaps coming up to a historic moment of a woman running for president for the first time in U.S. history. How nice to see women all ages saying, this could be me, this could happen. And you see how mirror neurons do work, because when women stand up and speak out, it does allow us to say, she sounds like me, we share the same values, if she can do it, so can I.